Punjab and Rajasthan close out their league campaign, possibly close out their tournament. They have to wait for miraculous results on the final double-header weekend. But we look ahead to what both teams need to do to get the points. First up at Dharamsala, where Tom Moody witnessed a high-scoring game. We all did. So I guess we're going to be spending some time on death bowling, as I guess the teams are as well, Tom, because we saw everyone go in that Punjab-Delhi game.
Yeah, it was a very good surface, wasn't it? And there was a very narrow window from a bowling perspective that you could have an impact, and that was with the new ball. There was a little bit of movement, and the error that Punjab made was their length in that first 6 overs. So I think teams now visiting Dharamsala and seeing how that surface is played, it would have learnt from that lesson to get the ball fuller. You know, the classical length on that surface with the new ball is the dismissal of Shikhar Dhawan off Ishant Sharma.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Rajasthan would have looked at that very closely.
But you make an interesting point that you have to strike in that window with the new ball in order to leave yourself with less to do at the death. Rabada took the new ball against David Warner. We thought that might be a potential matchup. Do you see that happening again? And what for Rajasthan Royals, who've been playing around with their overseas combination? Is there a case for another overseas seamer and not an Adam Zampa at this, or are they going to go with the 3 batters again?
I think it's an opportunity to bring in Obed McCoy. He's a specialist death bowler. He's sort of earned his reputation as a good death bowler. He's hardly got an opportunity this year. I think he's played just the 1 game and the 1 over in that game, which was, again, a questionable tactic when he was brought onto the field and him then only bowling the 1 over. So I would imagine that no Zampa, Obed McCoy would be the one that they'd go with, just so they've got an added string to their bow when it comes to that death overs. And we did note there wasn't a huge amount of spin there, so there's no point in them carrying 3 spinners.
If they do play 2 spinners, do you see any of them bowling at the death? It's one of those decisions that perhaps would stay with Shikhar Dhawan, the way he used Harpreet Brar, and I guess that raises questions on the use of Arshdeep Singh as we're talking about death bowling this season.
I think there's a big difference between Harpreet Brar and Chahal. I think Chahal's a far more decorated and experienced bowler, and he has played a really important role for Rajasthan in those death overs. So I think that will remain, because he's clever enough to be able to make those subtle adjustments to line, pace and turn, hence him being right up there amongst the leading wicket takers. And yeah, the use of Arshdeep, extraordinary. You know, he's an Indian fast bowler and he's a bowler of quality, and he only bowled the 2 overs. It seemed really strange. I actually thought at the time he must be unwell or injured, and that's why he couldn't complete his set, because generally you go into a contest, you know what your best 5 bowlers are, you even know what your best 2 bowlers are, and he's probably in that category of not just the 5, he's probably in the best 2. And to be underutilised like that, particularly when he's built his reputation around being a good death bowler.
He also had Rabada with 1 over, but it's one of those things that will stay with Shikhar Dhawan. Now, if you had to pick a bowling attack, Tom, at a tough venue to defend, you'd have Arshdeep, Sam Curran, Nathan Ellis, Kagiso Rabada. You think that looks very good on paper. Sam Curran's been going at 10.45. These are the last 5 overs this season. We understand there are challenges from the smaller grounds that he had when he had the success in Australia, but what does he need to do to be a little more effective looking at the challenges that he faces, Sam Curran?
What I liked about Punjab's decision last night was, one, the selection of that bowling group that you mentioned, but 2, Sam Curran took the role that was the role with the new ball, which he had with England, which gave him the success, which then gave him the high price in the auction. Throughout the season, Punjab have not used him with the new ball. You know, one of Curran's strengths is swinging in that new ball early and striking early. He's done it for England. He did it last night. He bowled pretty well last night. He picked up 2 wickets for just the 34 or 36 runs. In the scheme of things, that's a good day out. So I think he's been lost with having to bowl in the middle of the innings and at the end, and I don't think that's, you know, playing to his strength. His strength is new ball, getting those power play wickets, and then 1 or 2 at the back end.
All right. Can you call a favourite ahead of this one? It'd be a disappointing finale to what was such a promising season, especially for the Royals.
Yeah, look, on both teams really have had mixed seasons. I think Rajasthan, just on paper, are a better side, and there's more match winners within their playing group, and particularly their batting, will welcome an invitation to get out in the middle there. When you're looking at the likes of Butler and Jaswell at the top of the order, Hetmeyer might just catch a light too, like we saw Riley Rousseau. Being
Samson's due, you think?
Yeah, exactly. So there's plenty of names.
Very well, Tom Moody, thank you very much. It may not be a game of significance in terms of the playoffs, but funnier things have happened. So first they need to get the points to Punjab and Rajasthan. This was our preview to that game on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout.